What's up, everybody? Derek Anderson, the DA. All right, so check this out. This is how my afternoon was going about 5 minutes ago or so. So I'm like checking out Valiant Renegade's Twitter. He's talking about One Piece. He's like, yeah, it's great. Can't wait for season 2, kind of piggybacking off of Drunk 3PO's tweet about the same thing. So I was just kind of scrolling through, just like seeing what everybody else was saying, what they're talking about, and then you get to like the discover more part, so I'm looking at, heels versus babyface, talking about day 14 of people losing their minds, making videos on how it doesn't matter. Thanks for proving me right about the partisan politics. I got a chuckle out of that. Nerdrotic in Paris, tripping light fantastic out there in the city of light, so saw that. And then I saw Flash was had posted this, and this is why mainstream comics are dying. And I looked at this and I was like, superheroes are a very queer kind of story. Most superheroes are in the closet. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch that later. Let's see what else is going on. I'll check on that later. Maybe that's a video I can do. All right. But then I get to Critical Drinker right after that, responding to the exact same video. I'm like, all right, let me stop. I got to see what's going on in this video. I got to hear this. Okay, so here's the tweet. Superheroes are a very queer kind of story. Most superheroes are in the closet. Jadzia Alexrod, I guess that's how you say the name, trans writer for DC's Hawkgirl series, is asked about the meaning of gender and identity in superhero comics. This may be the most odd view of superheroes and comics I've ever heard. All right, so let's go ahead and listen to what Jadzia Alexrod had to say.
Superheroes are a very queer kind of story, and that you have these characters who have these double lives, and one life is much more colorful and dynamic and exciting, but they also have to keep on this normal life. Most superheroes are in the closet, either literally in some cases, or in a more metaphorical way of like, I have to keep my secret identity. That's important. And so it's very relatable stuff to a queer reader, very relatable stuff to a trans reader. Bodies are frequently mutable in superhero comics, which is something I love. So like all of this stuff was already in there when I read them, whether it was intended or not. So to tell a story where all of this stuff is not just subtext, but literally what's going on.
So if you were ever confused as to why Marvel Comics and DC Comics have gone completely off the rails, their sales are tanking, nobody's checking out comics like they used to, Exhibit A, all right? This is the reason why, okay? They absolutely stuff, I mean stuff, the storylines in comics with all of this identity, politics, and agendas, social agendas. They absolutely stuff it. Why? Because the writers, okay? This person's life, this Jadzia Alexrod, this individual's life is stuffed with identity, politics, and social agendas on a daily basis. This person isn't interested in telling compelling stories like we used to get back in my day, okay? Sound like an old dude, but yeah, back in my day, we actually just got compelling stories about heroes. Heroes being heroes, heroes enjoying being heroes. But now everything is a criticism on heroes, and they're looking at heroes in a different light. They're saying, oh, well, superheroes are a very queer kind of story. So they're seeing themselves in these stories. And listen, I'm not even saying that there's anything necessarily wrong with that. If you're a writer and you say, oh, you know what? I see like the queer whatever of this story. I'm not even saying that you can't see that story that way, but your audience don't see the story that way. Okay. Your job is to respond to the audience. All right. What does the audience expect? Yeah, in my 1 or 2% of folks, they may get like the little bit of queerness out of this or whatever. But the other 98%, hey man, we just want stories about heroes doing heroic shit. That's all we're looking for, okay? Good stories, heroes versus villains, and, standing on the staples of comic history and the lore. That's what we are looking for. We're not looking for gender and identity in superhero comics. So again, this is why this stuff is going off the rails. This is why comics are not what they used to be. This person's like, oh yeah, most superheroes are in the closet. Most superheroes are not in the closet. Again, in this person's head, yeah, most superheroes are in the closet the way that this person views the world. But your view of the world, Jadzia, is a very small percentage of the overall world. You need to kind of conform to what most people are looking for out of these comics. And they are not looking for identity politics. They are not looking for social agendas. They're trying to escape all of that stuff and just have a nice story. Hey, man, we're just telling a nice little story about superheroes. That's all we care about, okay? And heroes being heroes, you know, the relationships between the heroes, fighting evil, fighting against villains, saving the day. I did a video talking about like, yo, we need to get back to male heroes because again, comics were made for the male audience. And then all of these cats have come in here and they've just taken it over and they've just taken, and I'm talking about all entertainment, not just comics. They've just taken over everything and they've like, we're just pushing all of our politics and our social messages and agendas into the comics. And this is the reason why you're hearing this person say it. All right. And look, listen to this last piece, because this last piece I thought was especially telling.
So like all of this stuff was already in there when I read them, whether it was intended or not. So to tell a story where all of this stuff is not just subtext, but literally what's going on.
Not just subtext, but literally what's going on. You heard what this person said. So again, I want you to consider what's being said here. That it's not the subtext. Oh, no, it's not just subtext. You know, they see it as the subtext, but they're taking that subtext and they're elevating it to the text level, okay? They're saying this is what this story is about. And now we're just going to go all the way to the wall with it. We're just going to say, all right, this is what the story is about. It's about being in the closet. It's about being queer. That's what this story is really about. And why hide it in the subtext? Let's just go ahead and tell it right on out there in the open. And, oh, all of the comic sales are plummeting into the absolute abyss. Everything's going off the side of a cliff and into the ocean. Gee, I wonder why. You know, again, like, just pay attention, comic owners. Marvel, DC, pay attention to these cats. These people that you're hiring. This person works for DC Comics. This isn't some off-brand, weird, like, out-of-the-box comic. No, this is DC that this person is working for. Hawkgirl, a main character. Member of the Justice League. And yeah, this is what they're doing with these comics. This is why I stopped reading. Because I'm like, I can't do this. This stuff is infuriating. They've gone completely off the rails and they're not slowing down at all. They're doubling down and tripling down on this stuff. So anytime you want to know, well, why is it that comics are where they are? Just remember Jadzia Alexrod, all right? Jadzia Alexrod, the trans writer for DC's Hawkgirl series. And that's all the information you need when it comes to this. What DC and Marvel are doing, and they're just making it possible for the Rippaverse, right? Yeah, ISOM. This is why ISOM is doing what ISOM is doing, you know? All right, and I still got a review coming up. I'm taking my time with it. But this is why ISOM is doing what ISOM is doing, because of this nonsense that we're looking at right here. That's the reason why. But yeah, let's go ahead and check out some of the commentary and see what other folks are saying. Lady Gravemaster, gross is the word you're looking for, yeah. Back in the day, people wrote comics about heroes that awe and inspire. Today's comics are nothing but self-insertion and political agendas. Boom. I don't think the industry will ever fully recover. Well, it's not going to recover, at least not Marvel and DC. Again, it's going to go to the independents, to guys like Young Ripper, who are going to make, the comics that we actually want to read. Not this nonsense. It will only be a shell of its former self. Unless true fans get a hold of these properties, we just got to make our own things. I think independents have the strongest chance now more than ever because fans of these old properties want something to escape to. 1,000%, man. Like 1,000%. When I was a kid, I just wanted escapism, okay? Like my comics were Superman, Spider-Man, Teen Titans, like everybody like that. That was like my crew of friends that I grew up with. Those were our comics, right? And then I liked like Hulk and Brave and the Bold. JLA, those things, that's what we got down with. And it was all about just escaping from the world that we were living in and just being geeks and just talking about, oh man, did you get the latest issue? What did you think about blah, 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 blah? That hero was so awesome. I love Cyborg. Oh man, Robin is so cool. That's what we used to do as kids. We just like to geek out on cool stuff in comics. And now it says, oh, we got to push politics. That's what comics are all about. It's stupid, man. It's ridiculous. And manga is kicking American comics ass. Bam. Manga's going to continue to do that too. Because again, even if that stuff is in manga, that is not the point of manga. All right. This is becoming the point of comics, is to push social agendas and identity politics. It's one of the things, and again, I've made that point in that one piece that I don't think people understood when I said the only politics that exist within that One Piece live action are the politics that are in the story itself. It's not something coming from the outside, these creators, or we're going to drag all of this identity crap from the outside of One Piece and we're going to stuff it into One Piece. No, a lot of people didn't understand what I meant by that. I'm saying that the stuff that's in One Piece, the identity politics, if you want to say that, whatever, that's already embedded into the story that Eiichiro Oda was saying, that will be in the story because it's a part of the story already. It's not some jackass dragging it from the outside. Oh, well, we have to have some commentary about race in here, If Oda didn't make it a commentary about race, if Oda didn't push some trans, if he didn't make that a point of the story, then it's not going to be a part of it. That's what I was meaning by that. And that's the problem. So you got to get away from that stuff, DC and Marvel and everybody else that wants to make any kind of entertainment. You got to get away from pushing politics into things where politics don't belong. People want to escape. One Piece is escapism, all right? I love My Hero Academia. Total escapism, okay? Just totally escape. I'm in a completely different world when it comes to that. Jujutsu Kaisen, I'm in a completely different world, all right? And all of the other great mangas that are out there, you just completely lose yourself in a world and you forget about all the other stuff that you got going on outside the world. And you forget about all the other issues that people are crying and complaining about. You're dealing with what's going on with, Deku. Man, I hope Deku gets out of this situation. That's where your focus is. Not on all this other bullshit. If there is something about the story they can relate to, I get it. How many bullied kids, people dealing with racism or just feeling different relate to Spider-Man and X-Men? However, they saying the characters are closet gay and claim it for themselves, they missed the point. Well, yeah, again, that's part of it because, again, like I'm saying, if that's how you personally relate to the story, listen, I've already said this. I don't care how you individually relate to a specific story. That's why I always tell people, love whatever it is you want to love. Don't let me or anybody else take away from what you love. If you love it, love it. I don't care. All right. A lot of these stories is, like he says, it's how people get through life. I got through the bullying when I was a kid by, this guy saying, like maybe reading Spider-Man or X-Men. It's how you dealt with stuff. And so, yeah, you were able to deal with these various issues in your own personal life by reading it through a comic book and seeing how they dealt with it or whatever. Or maybe it was your escapism and you saw a little bit of yourself and how they were dealing with their problems. And maybe that's all it is. And that's fine. Okay. But again, I think the goal of the writer as an author, I think the goal of the writer is to connect to the audience, to the largest audience, to the people that are actually interested in buying and reading your material. And so if I'm not doing that, I'm failing as an author, all right? I'm failing as a writer. And if I see my sales start to plummet, like what's going on with Marvel and DC, then you got to understand, I think we're failing as writers right now, okay? I think we're failing in our objective to connect to our audience with material that they love, Anyway, that's all I got to say about this situation. I just find it fascinating that this person right here, this person literally just spells it out in the plainest possible way, the problems, okay? Saying that superheroes are a very queer kind of story and nothing is further from the truth, all right? Nothing can be further from the truth. But anyway, you guys let me know what you think. Jump down in the comments. Give me your thoughts and opinions on that. Thanks for watching. See you next time.